All right, here we go. Let's push the texture a little bit more. And basically this whole section that I'm going to use the eraser for risk of, I know I'm going to pull out too much, but then I'll blend it back. So I want to actually make a mistake for you. So if I just use my eraser and I start to press down too hard, then I ruin the shadow and then the drawing starts to go flat. I mean, it looks cool. Yeah, absolutely. So you've got to just do it to, gosh, let's look at the value scale. It should really, if we're going to be traditional, no lighter than a 6. Once we start to get to 7, then we go too light. Now again, this photo is terrible, and it all really depends on how much bouncing light is in your studio. So if I open up my blinds behind me, the front of my studio, some light will come in and it'll bounce around over here. And I don't know if I want to do that. Now I'm just, everything to me is, it goes back, I wish I was more exciting, but everything goes back to the 7 layers and the layered approach. And basically what I'm doing is I'm just thinking about surface planes and how the light is hitting those surface planes, and I'm keeping, yeah, I'm making this too light, but let's just kind of go for it. I'll knock it down. I'm keeping the lights in their proper place, at least I'm trying to. I'm not succeeding right now. I'm going a little too light. But I am primarily thinking about surface planes. Got a little surface plane right there, and we can draw a little bit with the eraser. So there's another surface plane over here. Okay, so now let's sharpen some pencils. Let's sharpen. Now, the same token, we don't want to go too black with what we're going to do next, because then we start to get, then we really go downhill fast, because then we're getting too contrasty in the shadow. So there's the constant battle of keeping your value ratios. A little hard edge right over there. We wrap around. Yeah, the risk is here going too dark. And some of these shading lines, you're gonna, like, this is like inside of like a cylinder. So to show the viewer what you're drawing, you kind of want to go with your pencil strokes with the lay of the land. It'll just make everything much more three-dimensional. This has got to come down more. It's very close to the edge. I don't have it. Close enough to this edge. And now we're turning underneath a little bit. This starts to be like part of a ball, like a sphere, and it's turning underneath. So I gotta come on in and try to do this little minuscule texture, but I'm doing it with my pencil strokes going around that sphere. This is a cylinder. We're putting a little underplane, and then we turn to front plane. This section, everything to me, again, I'm not that exciting. Everything to me goes back to cylinders, spheres, and surface planes. Now, you don't always want to draw so primitively, and yeah, there's all different things that also go into a drawing, but when I'm running into problems with technique, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do that section, I'm always like, alright, what is the basic form? Where is the light coming from? And this right now, I don't love it. It's a little stylized. There's a way of doing this where it's not so stylized. I'm just going to have to kind of like feel my way through it here today. Hopefully my head didn't get in the camera. And I'm measuring across from here. This could be a little bit lower. Yes, this still needs to be lower. And let's just kind of push this interior cylinder. This is catching a little bit of light. That's much too light. Let's smudge it. And now let's make it crisp again. So this is just the build up. You know, you just got to build it up. Like I was talking about earlier with the whole layers thing. It's a little crisper over here. So we do have some hard edges. Got to have a nice sharp pencil. Now, the same way that I use all of my other philosophy, I'm going to use that same philosophy on texture. I'm not going to finish this section to its completion. I'm going to move now. And the one thing that I did notice, I want to loop this a little bit more. Yeah. Okay, so now let's go here. And this is a little easier to me. And my eyes are getting a little bit more used to the light in here, a little bit more focused. Again, I don't know how useful this is for you. I hope it's useful, you watching me do this, but basically I'm just going in with, and I'm drawing shapes. And I'm using as light of a touch as I possibly can. I'm thinking about which direction the light is coming from, and I'm thinking about the direction of my pencil stroke. And I want my pencil stroke to be going in a different direction than, say, here, because this is chipped and it's short and choppy. Some areas I'm going to have hard edges, and some areas are going to be a little bit softer. The more I can go with the lay of the land with my pencil, the more volume-esque this drawing will be. This needs to be dropped. And now let's go back into our side. Way back when we talked about this was our cast shadow. And we can stipple in one or two areas. We don't want to fake the texture. I see like a little bit, little specks kind of. And we don't want to stipple for the sake of stippling. Now stippling is just dots, kind of like pointillism. You do like some texture that way. Okay, I'm going to leave that now. I'm going to step away. Yeah, time flies when you're having fun. Yeah, this is where you got to step away, step away, step away. When we come back, we'll do a little bit here. We'll refine those two. And then we're going to dive into the fabric. And then our last part is just working the whole thing at once.